Welcome to my channel, Devin Rex for Art here, and today I'm just showing some sections of a play session I had. I was trying to record something else and it didn't record, but we'll deal with that in a live stream, and or maybe we already have. So here I'm just showing that I'm just playing with some leftover papers. I'm adding some gold fabric paint here, and then I'm going to squish it with that piece of paper. And you're not actually going to see that paper again, but we're going to use what's left over on the jelly plate to keep going and just have some fun little play session. So I'm just using what's left over on the plate. This is my large jelly plate. It's a 12 by 14 inch plate. And here I'm just adding some black Liquitex paint. And I'm going to do two fields. I'm going to do a bottom field over that gold, and I'm going to do field on the top, and I'm leaving a little space in between them. And I'm using just some drawing paper. It's an 11 by 14 size paper, I can't remember. And I'm just using this big paper bag because the paper doesn't cover the whole plate. I didn't want to get dirty, so I just use a paper bag. And so we've got like a smudgy black background. We're going to put that aside. And then I leave this black to mostly dry, and then we're going to add some red. So this is Liquitex, I don't know, red color, and then a very fluorescent yellow type of color. Also, I think that one's a PBO. I'll try to put the paint names on the screen here. And I'm just wiping that extra black off of my brayer so that I don't muddy up those colors too much. Just getting organized. So I'm just going to do the yellow first, and I'm going to brayer off that yellow a bit, and then I'm going to brayer the red, mix them a little bit in the middle. And again, that same size drawing paper and the paper bag to pick it up. And then I take a little bit of that leftover red onto my 5 by 7 jelly plate. And I'm just showing that other paper that I took. Here I'm going to use some turquoise onto that 5 by 7. And we're going to add something onto that initial black page there. Here I'm using a wooden shape that I got from the dollar store to make a little design. And while it's still wet, we're going to place it down onto the paper, a little higher in the middle so it's not exactly in the middle. And we're just going to let that sit before we pull it off. In the meantime, we're going to pull this red and yellow print. And you can see it's very, very vibrant. So I'm going to tone down that yellow side by adding a little bit of that aqua. So I thought I might have some on my brayer, but I didn't. So there's the aqua, and it's just I think a Liquitex aqua. I'll try to write the name on the screen. And I don't want it too solid because I want that yellow to show through. So I just use a paper bag and I just lightly kiss it to the surface so it just removes some of the paint. So you can see there it's a little bit blotchy. And then I'm applying that 1/2 of the paper down. The other side's touching, it doesn't really matter because there's no paint over there. And we'll pull it up, and I think that looks pretty cool. I like how there's like more of that yellow in the middle. You can still see a hint of that gold from that fabric paint. So it needs a little something else. I pull out this stencil from PM Artist Studios. I think it's graffiti or something like that, but I'll link them below. You can go check out their shop. And I'm going to pull up my 5 by 7 plate again, and we're going to use just some black paint. Oh, but my 5 by 7 plate's in use, so I'm going to pull it off. Here we go. So there's our starburst design in the middle there. And we're going to add to that in a little bit. But first we're going to work on this red and turquoisey colored print. And I want this to be a very bold element, so I'm adding just some black acrylic paint. I think it's Mars Black. And onto the 5 by 7 plate. Then I'll roll it out and we'll put the stencil on top. So I put a pretty thick layer of paint there because I want it to stay dry so I can transfer it to my red and turquoisey print when I'm done. So I put the stencil on top, and I use this graph paper to pick up the paint from in between the spaces of the stencil. And I use my fingers to really rub in there and try to get as much as possible. Do it twice just to get as much as I can. Pull off the stencil, and that paint's still nice and wet. Turn it over, and I just plop it down as best I can, middle-ish, and we're going to let that sit for a bit. Of course, I don't want to waste any of that wet paint, so I just put my stencil down on that other side of that paper and just give it a good brayer to remove some of that. That's how I clean my stencils. I usually don't clean them fully, I just kind of wipe them off. And I was just taking a peek in there. You can see I ripped that, that paper was just a drawing paper. I should use a mixed media paper, would have been thicker, but because it's got a bit of rip there, I'm just going to glue it with some glue later. So here I'm working on that second print. I'm just cutting a circle to make a template. I didn't have any stencils that were the exact size I wanted, so I want to put a gold circle inside that sun shape, and I'm going to use my stencil butter to do that. This is the champagne gold stencil butter, and it's just very lovely. It's smooth, buttery, and I love the color of this one. And I'm going to put a fair amount on there, and then you're going to see in a second here I'm going to use my little round jelly plate to squish it, and then when I pull it off, it makes a nice dendritic sort of pattern to it, gives it some texture. So here's the one I took off that 5x7 jelly plate. I didn't film it apparently, so I liked how that turned out. I'll just bring it in close so you can see the details. So that's kind of cool. I wanted it, you know, very bold in the middle there. And you can see just a little strip of that gold. Just, I don't know if you can see it there, a little bit there. And so, I mean, I could add more to it. I could maybe add some black Posca and distress the edges a bit more. This is the sun one we did, just using that shape from the dollar store. And you can see that dendritic texture on the stencil butter. Just using that jelly plate to sort of pop it up. You can also see, if I tilt it, you can see the gold from that fabric paint that we started on the jelly plate with, which is this fabric paint here. This tulip, I got it on clearance, tulip metallics dimensional fabric paint. And again, I could definitely cut that down. I don't know what I'll use it for, but it was fun. I just kept this short. I had been working on a different video, which I didn't press record on. I mentioned that at the beginning. So I will have done a live stream, or I'm going to do a live stream about that. One of the papers I made in the process of the last one that didn't record as well was this. This is a Robin McClendon inspired print. I might do a video on that sometime. Just keeping this one short, and I hope you all have a great day and have fun creating. Bye.